Yes, young women really can be messy, self-absorbed failures, but here's the thing this movie doesn't really get. They probably shouldn't.
Bitch, I did my due diligence. That's a fucking lie what you're saying.
So, Supergirl came out, and the movie is fairly solid. Not great, not as good as Superman, but it delivered a decent story overall. I'm at a 7 out of 10. This could change over time depending on how the discourse goes and the arguments presented by others. However, what I'm absolutely certain of is that Critical Drinker's review is not moving my stance on the movie in the slightest. This review is so bad that I'm really starting to question if he actually watched the movie or if he dozed off a few times and reviewed it anyway.
Supergirl is everything we all feared it would be, and more. So much more. A cringy, cliched, tedious mess of dull, lifeless action scenes that we've seen a million times before. That fucking face, man.
So I don't know why I've seen people use this as some sort of gotcha, as if actors in general don't have frames that look funny out of context during an intense moment. But whatever, minor point. Let's see how he tries to support his other points.
One-dimensional characters with nothing even resembling arcs.
Okay, so either you fell asleep during the movie, or you straight up lied here. Supergirl's arc is very straightforward in the movie, and they're not even subtle about it. Her arc is about learning to take responsibility in the face of grief, and learning to find purpose in doing so. She doesn't see much of a purpose in life after she lost everything on her planet, so she drinks and parties as a way of escaping from her problems. She sets that aside the one time she's in a unique position to help one person, since there's still a part of her that can empathize with others. Through Kara's experience with Ruthie, she's forced to take responsibility for someone else and learns the value of helping someone confront their problems instead of evading them. Sometimes the easier way out isn't the better way out, and that's what she grows to understand. That growth is demonstrated when she decides to wear the suit to give people hope, and decides to stay on Earth for longer so she can find a purpose in life, which is what Superman has been trying to inspire her to do. So she does have a character arc. You're incorrect. Ruthie also has a character arc of her own. For most of the movie, she wants to get revenge on Krem, not caring about how this is something she'll have to carry for the rest of her life. But she doesn't kill him because Supergirl inspires her to believe that she doesn't have to live a life defined by revenge. Shutting him out entirely by leaving him would be the better way to get closure, because that's not something she has to have on her conscience moving forward. These are two characters that go through major changes in the film, so saying they don't have arcs is false.
Anyway, fuck it, let's just do the plot. So a series of flashbacks explain how Kara's father separated a chunk of Krypton called Argo City from the rest of the planet when it got destroyed. But oh no, it also released kryptonite, or something, and everyone's slowly dying of radiation poisoning, so her parents send her and her dog Krypto off to Earth to meet up with Clark. But she's like, nah, I'm too cool for you, and spends most of her time dicking around on planets with red suns so that she can get drunk and party, and look like the kind of girl you'd find passed out in a pool of her own vomit round the back of a nightclub on a Sunday morning. Wow, what an inspirational character. Can't wait to see more of this.
Yeah, you're right, Drinker. We see someone who's a huge mess in life and is stuck running from her problems as an easy way out. But as the story progresses, she realizes that this isn't the way to live her life, and she goes back to Clark to tell him that she'll be spending more time on Earth, which demonstrates that she's grown from these character flaws that you mention. So yes, how inspiring it can be to see someone grow and change for the better.
So we pick up with Kara celebrating her 23rd birthday by, you guessed it, getting drunk and partying.
Correct. The film stayed consistent with the character flaws they've established. Great observation.
That's when she meets up with Ruthie, who's out to kill some dickhead named Krem in revenge for murdering her family. But Kara's like, nah, it'll be fine. But it turns out it won't be fine when Krem himself shows up and steals Kara's ship and shoots Krypto with a poison dart that'll kill him in 3 days if he doesn't get an antidote. Wow, that was lucky, wasn't it? Lucky the antagonist of the movie just happens to show up right after he's been mentioned.
Now that's an interesting way to frame the events, considering the actual reason they showed up to the ship. He showed up at the ship while it was empty, and we know he'd have interest in searching this field that appears to have parked ships because his ship got destroyed earlier. A ship is easier to steal when it's noticeably unattended. They happened to enter after they left. It's almost like that's why he showed up at this time, because he saw an opportunity and was looking for a high quality ship. So tell me, How is it lucky that he entered while their backs were turned?
Lucky that he shoots Crypto with a slow-acting poison instead of just vaporizing him or something.
So you think it's convenient that a sadistic killer who enjoys making people suffer for sport decided to shoot a poison that would draw out the suffering as opposed to instantly vaporizing someone? That's your definition of a convenience? An action that aligns with the character's traits?
Cause hot damn, you wanna know what's a scam? Your fucking education. Nigga, that's what the scam is.
Lucky this all creates the perfect setup for our reluctant hero to join forces with young, strong female character.
The only element of luck involved here is Supergirl being on the same planet as Ruthie. Not any of the nonsense that you've just spewed, but the inciting incident of the story is the two of them meeting, and inciting incidents tend to involve a degree of luck because they inform why we're following the story to begin with. It's like if we have a story about someone winning the lottery, and you have Drinker complaining about that, not understanding that as the reason we're following the character. In the case of Supergirl, the point of the story is what Kara would do if she's put in a unique position to help someone, which naturally draws interest in seeking Kara's help. If that's bad writing to you, then I'd hate to ever apply your standards to any piece of media. Oh, and mentioning that someone is a strong female character is not valid criticism. Repeating that phrase doesn't make it such.
Anyway, so off they go to track down Krem and his gang of Mad Max rejects, and then Lobo shows up for like 5 minutes to give Jason Momoa something to do. Then they accidentally get an innocent family killed, and Kara gets sick from the green sun on this planet, but then she gets better, and there's a big fight where she stops Ruthie from killing Krem because revenge is bad or something, but then she kills him anyway because she's not your typical superhero.
That's not the reason given by the movie. They give much more context for this, context which you don't even address. I'm starting to think that you may be lying about the movie. Kara's motivation has to do with preserving Ruthie's soul. The movie spells it out when Krem deduces this and comments on it. Kara doesn't appeal to the morality of taking a life. She appeals to the effect this would have on Ruthie, which makes sense because she's 13 years old. Even for people who do believe that an execution must be done, that doesn't mean they want a child to witness it, let alone commit the action. Supergirl does believe that Krem is evil and dangerous enough to warrant killing, but that doesn't mean she wants a child to do it. She'd rather be the one to accept the burden of taking a life. I can't believe this is actually a point. No, actually, I can believe it. What am I saying?
The plot is nothing but a series of and-then coincidences, all strung together with the most flimsy justifications. The characters themselves are just along for the ride. Major events take place and people show up for no other reason than to make the rest of the plot happen. Kara gets sick and weak when she's exposed to a green sun in the second act low point, but then she just gets better when a yellow sun helpfully comes out.
How is that convenient? They've established that her powers depend on the nearby suns. A green sun is established to poison her. A red sun is established to dampen her powers. A yellow sun is established to grant her powers. So it makes sense that her powers return when the yellow sun rises. What, is it now convenient that the planet has this in the first place? Well, not really, since it makes sense for Krem to operate here if it's dangerous for Kryptonians to enter. And we know he has prior knowledge of them because he has access to kryptonite and planned for if any Kryptonians showed up. This is one of the best planets for a supervillain to reside in, so it easily could have been chosen for this reason. That isn't sheer luck.
There's no particular trial she has to go through, no lessons learned, no difficult choices to make.
Oh, no lessons learned. She starts off the conversation with Ruthie by saying the colorful suit is just a stupid suit, implying that she doesn't believe in inspiring others. Ruthie goes out of her way to explain how she inspired her, and it resonates with what her parents and Clark have told her. She's learning through her first-hand experiences how she can inspire good, and how that can honor the family she lost, which is why she wears the suit in the final act. That is growth.
Lobo shows up out of nowhere for like 5 minutes because he looks cool and the script needed some fan service and everyone likes Jason Momoa.
And because he represents a poor influence on Ruthie. He plays into Ruthie's darker and violent tendencies and encourages her to believe that she always has it in her to kill. It contributes to why Ruthie thinks her soul is already ruined when Kara tries convincing her not to kill Krem at the end, which is not something brought up beforehand. Kara previously appealed to the fact that Ruthie would be haunted forever, and Ruthie doesn't think to argue that she's already a lost soul. It never crosses her mind as a counter. This is only brought up after Lobo encourages her violent side, convinces her to set him free, and remarks on how he knows she has it in her to be a killer. I'm not saying it's done perfectly, but to suggest Lobo has no real purpose in the narrative is faulty.
And he does exactly what he always does, plays Jason Momoa. Honestly though, you could cut him right out of this movie and everything would play out exactly the same.
If you cut him out of the movie, then Ruthie's final argument with Kara doesn't play out the same, and he doesn't doesn't negatively influence Ruthie's mindset.
Krem is just a generic bad guy who does bad stuff because, fuck it, who even cares?
It's explicitly stated that he does it for sport. Now, he's not a great villain or anything, but he does have a reason behind his actions.
He's just there to give the rest of the characters something to do. There's no real substance to him, no big overarching plan or hidden justification for what he's doing.
Sure, he doesn't have much substance to his character, but he does have an overarching plan. He traffics girls to maintain their all-male population. That's still a larger point to his actions, so I don't know why you're saying he didn't have an overarching plan.
Then there's Kara herself, who's apparently based on the not particularly popular Tom King run of comic books, which helpfully ignore half a century of character development to paint Kara as a cringy punk rock anti-hero.
I hate this!
I mean, I can't say I'm surprised, to be honest. That little cameo she got at the end of Superman already told us what kind of an annoying arsehole she was gonna be.
Thanks for watching him, bitch!
I really don't know what you're trying to achieve here. Recounting that a character has flaws isn't valid criticism. It's just pointing to things the movie does. I can just as easily point to Tony Stark's alcoholism, arrogance, and reckless use of technology, but writing off his character simply because he has flaws is missing the point of his story. You're doing the same with Supergirl.
Not since the Marvels have I liked a main character less than this one.
Well, I'm sorry that character flaws are offensive to you, but pointing them out isn't good criticism.
There's this weird feeling of mild desperation throughout the whole movie where they're trying so hard not to make her a Mary Sue that she just comes across as an annoying bitch who doesn't care about anything or anyone but herself.
Okay, so this is another one of those points where I question if you're a liar or just fell asleep. Who cares at this point? He's still wrong. The first scene with Kara and Ruthie shows her trying to return the sword back to Ruthie. Ruthie is interested in Kara in the first place because she tried to help her. Kara still has empathy for others, so claiming she only cares about herself is a falsehood. During the scene where Kara and Ruthie are surrounded by guns, she positions Ruthie to be out of the line of fire. She shows immediate concern and sorrow when she realizes that Krem killed an innocent family, then proceeds to scream and cry in space after failing. She lands in anger and aggressively interrogates someone into telling her where Krem is. She literally saves all of the victims in Krem's ship. She tries to preserve Ruthie's innocence by convincing her not to kill. And when Kara actually prepares to kill Krem, she literally says, "That's for my dog," and "This is for what you did to that little girl." And she returns to Clark, saying she's glad to be home. What do you mean she only cares about herself? Did you watch the movie?
Am I the only one who did the reading?
And for a couple reasons, I find it funny how you mentioned this movie is apparently trying to avoid making Kara a Mary Sue. You don't like Mary Sue characters. Fair. Valid even. But when the film goes out of its way to give Kara major character flaws, you complain about them, even if the film recognizes them as flaws, and has her grow from them. It really goes to show that there's no point in trying to please people like you, because you are going to trash on the movie no matter what. And why by this point, I'm actually convinced that your intentions are dishonest. It'd be one thing if you were criticizing these character flaws because you felt they were out of character, which you didn't say, or if the film never critiqued these flaws and didn't bother with having the character grow. But she blatantly is critiqued by the story, and does grow to be a better person by the end, and you're still complaining about her character flaws anyway. There's no winning with someone who's being this deliberately obtuse.
And I think there are a lot of disingenuous people online that just want to hate on the film. They don't want to make it better, right? They want to hate on it.
They're trying so hard to paint her as this jaded, cynical, world-weary pragmatist who's tried and failed to be a hero and just wants to be left alone now, but it doesn't fucking work because she's like 23 years old. This is the kind of thing you do with a 50-year-old man, not some young girl who's just starting out.
So someone can't be jaded or run away from their problems after literally losing everything they knew and loved in life because they happen to be 23 years old?
Like, how the fuck can you have a life of regrets when you've barely even lived a life to begin with?
You can still have regrets at 23 years old. Are you serious? Is this an actual point you're making?
It's just dumb!
Yes, young women really can be messy, self-absorbed failures, but here's the thing this movie doesn't really get. They probably shouldn't.
Okay, yeah, you're just fucking lying. Nowhere does the movie imply that Kara's flaws as a character are meant to be looked up to. She literally gets criticized for them in the movie, and she changes by the end. So not even she thinks these are good traits. This is a garbage review, and it encapsulates the problem with critics like the Critical Drinker. You really can't please people like this. He contradicts his own standards for no reason. He doesn't like Mary Sue's, he gets a character that avoids writing issues found in Mary Sue's, but he still complains about it because he personally doesn't like the character. I'm sorry, sorry, since when did you personally not liking a character become a valid critique of the writing? Nowhere does he prove that Kara's flaws are inconsistent or glossed over by the story. He just points out that they exist and complains about them, then lies about the film allegedly thinking these are good flaws. I've seen some bad reviews of this movie, but this is easily the most deceptive and nonsensical one I've heard. Like, this is embarrassing. Anyway, rant over. Thanks for watching, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you want more of these types of videos. I'll see you all later. Goodbye.